Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about snapshotting, which is a very important mechanics in Genshin Impact that everybody should know, and especially about how it can affect your damage. Essentially, snapshotting refers to the fact that when you cast a ability, only the stat at the time of casting will be taken into account. Let me quickly demonstrate with visual. Here you can see that my odds are hitting for 1529 damage exactly on every single hit. Let's do that again, but with the bandit buff. Here you can see that on my visual, we have the indicator that our visual is getting an attack buff. However, the odds is still only doing 1529 damage, meaning that our damage did not go up. Let me repeat that experiment but showing you the stat screen also as well. Before starting the fight, you can see that at my visual stat I have 1500 attack-ish, and then with a bunch of random stats that don't actually matter. Now I'm gonna cast my visual odds, and you can see it's doing 1656 damage each. After dropping the bandit buff, you can see that now our visual attack went up to all the way to 2300-ish. So we're clearly having a attack buff, but odds damage is still not changes, it's still 1650. This is the results of snapshotting, of course, since the game only considers visual stat at the time of casting the ability. So getting a bandit buff afterward and getting a attack increase after you have already casted the ability will not affect your damage in any ways. This also works in reverse. Casting bandit buff first before I cast Oz ability means that visual stat is now higher at the time of casting. You can see that my Oz is now doing higher damage at 2500 per hit, and even if I walk out of the bandit elemental burst or if I switch character, the damage is unaffected. Just to demonstrate again, here I recast Oz using my elemental burst, and you can see our damage went back to 1656 since our buff has expired. Now there actually are ability that does a snapshot. For example, Xingqiu's elemental burst. Here you see that I cast Xingqiu elemental burst, and I'm doing a 52 damage per hit on a non-critical. And then again, I will drop the bandit elemental burst, and at this point you can see that when my Xingqiu is standing on the elemental burst and is getting the buff, I am doing 1356 damage. So you can see that clearly the damage went up here. However, by leaving the field and switching character out, my Xingqiu is no longer getting the buff. So you can see again, our damage went back to 852. So if you're playing sub DPS Xingqiu, just know that he'll basically not benefit from Bandit's elemental burst. Now most ability in the game snapshot, Xingqiu is one of the exception that doesn't. Some other one are like Ningguang, but for basically like 90% of the skill in this game, you can treat it as a snapshot ability, including Xiangling's elemental burst, Venti's elemental burst, and stuff. Now knowing this, to maximize your damage, basically just remember to cast your buff before casting your ability. For example, here I cast Bandit followed by Xiangling followed by Venti. People often make this mistake where they first cast their ability before they cast their buff. So this is an incorrect example here where you cast Venti's elemental burst first and then get the Bandit buff off. And in this case, you will not get the bandit buff on your Venti's elemental burst at all. Now there's a final side effect about snapshotting that I want to talk about, and that is when a ability grants a buff. For example, when you activate Ganyu elemental burst, you get a 20% cryo damage bonus. But because this only applies after you activate the elemental burst, your elemental burst will actually not get this bonus itself. Similarly for Xiangling, your C6 will give you 15% pyro damage when you cast your Pyro Tornado. However, because your Pyro Tornado snapshot, you actually do not get the 15% pyro damage on Xiangling. Effectively, what happens is when you cast Ganyu Elemental Burst, you will snapshot right at this moment, meaning that only the stat is accounted for during this moment, and this does not include the 20% crowd damage bonus. And as you can see, after we casted the Elemental Burst, you can see the arrows indicating the attack buff on Ganyu. So at this point, after we casted our burst, we finally get the 20% crowd damage bonus. But because our Elemental Burst has already snapshotted, meaning that the 20% crowd damage bonus is not applied to our Elemental Burst. So just little thing here to clarify. That's pretty much it for this video, just a short explanation about what is snapshotting. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I know a lot of you actually been asking about me to make a video explaining what is snapshotting, so that's why I made this video. And as it turned out that a lot of you actually don't know or understand what snapshotting is. And I think it's really important for everyone to understand because it could affect your damage in dramatic way. For example, if you forgot to cast your buff before you cast your other stuff, then your buff is worthless. Like, it's basically as if you never casted the buff at all, which is basically what snapshotting is, right? And so just little detail like that to make sure will actually affect your gameplay a lot. Anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys next time.